just had another epiphany. They're pew, 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 rapid fire in my brain. Pew, pew, epiphany, 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 epiphany. This one was of, I was just walking Benny, and it just occurred to me, I get pissy. Let's say a little pissy. I get pissy when I get powerless. I get mad. Powerlessness. What I got? Relinquish control. What? And when I have to do things that I don't want to deal with the consequence of, that is a sense of powerlessness, and it makes me pissy. I was walking him out. I was like, oh, one day, because I've been praying so hard for our forever home. I just want to settle down and make some roots, have a little farm, get some little farm critters. And so I've been praying hard on that, and just keep doing the Rex right thing that I think might potentially lead us to that, all of us to that, and to be able to open the front door and just have the dogs walk out all together. They only need like freaking, they don't need a lot of space. They just kind of meander. They take, when it's cold out, they don't like getting their little toes wet, so they just do their business, come back in. But I gotta do that, and have been doing that for over 3 years with 4 old dogs, 4 or 5 times a day, sometimes 6 times a day. So that I can't, and it's tiresome. And these are things that I'm like, okay, universe, I'm gonna put out there, and I'll keep doing the right thing and try not to be too big of a jerk. Some days it's more of an effort than others, but I'm turning into a hermit crab. It's just funny because I'm a Cancer rising. Like, I don't want to be around nobody. I don't want to talk. Yeah, I'm feeling very antisocial. And that's not my morning, my normal my MO, because I'm used to, I get the forecast from how people are. I'm energetic sensitive. I always have. Everywhere I bet, I want to know how people are, to know how the world is. And excuse me a moment. Okay. Take this off. Made some notes. I was walking the dogs out. That's why I called this talk, what I named it. Hold on. I'll be back. Oh, there's another pin. I was throwing a tantrum this morning because I leave things where I can find them, and then when I can't find them, and I'm powerless because I'm the only person that puts things places, that makes me frustrated too. I get real frustrated. definitely different than it was yesterday. It has definitely changed. We're at a different place than we were yesterday. How I know that is when the sun hits, the turkey gobbles, and that happened this morning. The turkey, I thought they said they were gonna eat at Thanksgiving. The neighbors, they have turkeys and chickens, and I used to go up and visit them, but then when they started threatening that they're gonna kill them and stuff, I didn't want to get emotionally attached to them. So I stopped going up there and hanging out with them, and then I started thinking it was getting closer to Thanksgiving. I'm like, well, harvesting a turkey takes a lot of effort, and they don't put much effort into much anything else except for gratification, human gratification. So I think turkey's gonna be okay, and the turkey is in fact intact. The turkey is still, in fact, intact. I was looking at it this morning, it was all puff up, he gobbled. That's the first time I heard him gobble since the sun shift in the fall. He ain't felt like gobbling, and this morning the sun shift back over far enough that it hits the hill where the turkey is, and the sun lit up the turkey. See how that works? There's like everything has contingencies. When this happens, this happens. People are easy to see like that too. When they act like this behavior will follow. Ask anybody who grew up around anyone that drank a lot of alcohol and had to be extra. Okay, let's see. When is Dr. Mr. whatever, when is the alter ego coming? When the spirit goes, the ego sits in the front seat and says, okay, we're going to have a good time. Look at the planet. How many people are doing it? How many people are having a good time? To their demise. A lot. Who's that? Pretty girl. I want to do my talk so I could just get it over with because I'm feeling the energy, the high vibes too. How about some little lights, huh, pretty girl? She says, lights! I hear the Muppet theme song in my head when I do this sometimes. It's time to get things started. Huh? She says, we're not on the Muppet Show tonight. It's a pretty. Another oldie that I used to watch, that recently came across my feed. Sherry Lewis's daughter continued with Lamb Chop. I freaking dig it. Except the only thing that I really struggle with is I have to look at Lamb Chop. I can't look at her daughter Mallory because she has had work done. And she looks a lot like her mom, and she would probably have her mom's little, hey, what are you doing? You want to go back out? We were just out. She's like, I'm feeling it. See, this is why I need a yard, dude. Please, universe, I will be so obedient. Please. Anyway. Like, we just came in, like, right before I started the talk. I think I'll put on one of my shirts. I came up with this when I was 9. It's in the color spectrum, and it's embroidered, so it's good for. I use it to self-soothe, because I'm a tapper and I'm tactile. I have to divert my attention, because I don't need to be imagining ripping people's faces off. When I'm in the grocery store and they're walking too slow in front of me. I am a peaceful being. I just have a really, 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 really vivid, wild, vivid imagination. I was listening to some of Cat Williams' experts from that Rogan dude. I don't care the motivation behind why people are disseminating information. I'm just grateful that there's just all these alternative data timelines that are being presented, so people have other things that they can think about besides the narrative, the tutorial, that's the script that's been given to people. You'll get the good role if you act like this. All that shit. So I was listening to some of his excerpts, and I was like, this guy talks. I haven't heard him talk about much different stuff that I have talked about in my videos. We are a kindred spirit. I bet he has a lot of Gemini too. I wonder what his chart looks like. I'm curious. Anyway, he and I would have good hangs. We'd hang out. That because we're like the same. We think. I mean, yeah, we're kindred spirits. That just surmises all of it. So he but the differences of us are, I started out in libraries. I hate reading. I'm not a reader. I've read a lot of books, like, people say, read this, my brother books, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, grandma she was a real estate agent, had all these books laying around, so I'd read them just because I had nothing else to do. Zig Ziglar books, all the, Richest Man in Babylon, boring shit, right? But it planted seeds. Mostly how I didn't want to live my life on okay, I'm filling my space with it. So what I was the kid that went outside, and I was always in nature, getting lost in nature, stuff like that. That was me. So I was getting lost in my imagination. He was getting lost in books, and we were disseminating the same data. We were coming up to the same places, the same points. And that's how frequency and energy works, like tracks light. That's why I think maybe one day we'll cross paths, And I always throw it out there to people, if you're ever in Taos, I'd be glad to show you around. It's a beautiful place. There's lots of really cool places. I'll just take you to the places when the Tourons aren't out and around, because I don't like people. Because people ruin everything. Look at what they're doing to the world. I don't want no part of that. Hi, pretty girl. It looks like I'm going to have to do a walk around. I thought I had another hour or so. Oh, you want some water? Rube Goldberg. He's a Cancer. July 4th, 1883. Born San Francisco. And then died December 7th, 1970. Dude, I could be him reincarnated. I wear bow ties. Like, that's how I believe reincarnation works. It's like human beings were a life library, and we're here to check life out. Try this, try that. And it's just so perverse and weird, the shit people are drawn to, that ego stuff. When the rewards are so much better from following spirit, God, good orderly direction. No, don't do that. It'll cause harm. Do this. It'll make things better. You want to go outside, little girl? You want to do a walk around? I have notes. I know other people be feeling the vibe too. There's already garbage outside the storeroom from the freaking hoarders next door that wasn't there when I first let Artie out. You go potty? At 5 this morning. And then I got Mom up. I love cracking her up, dude. I freaking crack her up all the time. I get her up, and the neighbor had started the truck. It's an old Toyota, It gets better gas mileage, I guess, than the Toyota Tundra. I said, listen, Ma. I said, listen. I said, it's spring. The birds are chirping. I saw my first robin this morning. I said, the birds are chirping. I said, the neighbor's getting up to go sit around in a different location and get paid for it. She just starts laughing. Oh, see, that's what keeps me going in life, is just freaking laughing and making fun of shit, man, because the world is stupid and the people running it are just dumber and boxes of rocks. I'll be right back. We're just going to go out this door, walk around up the ramp in this way. Huh, pretty girl? I forgot her walk around lead. It's not like they need leashes. I'll be back before this song's over. Kooks everywhere. Come on, let's go walk around. I know, you're special. You're my special pretty lady. Special pretty lady. Oh. Come on. Let's go. Walk around. Good dog. Good girl. I know, you're prettiest. See you later, bye. She said, see you later, bye. Thank you for the walk around. Alright, let's see. Hi, Tuck. Sweet little nugget. The old dogs. They're so cute. I love my new coffee maker. Because I only drink like a cup when I drink coffee. Mostly I don't, but the energy is so freaking... Woo! I don't need it. Maybe it'll reverse it, but I got one of these. You put the grounds in there, in the water, and it percolates. Gets hot and forces the fluid up through the reservoir at the top. Bloop, 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 bloop. I use this stuff, the espresso stuff. I got a little can. Everything's so expensive. I just want to try stuff. I don't need to freaking live off it for a year. So I got this stuff that they recommend. The Cafe Bustelo. Always pure and flavorful, like no other. To try but I'm gonna have to try the egg trick that came across my feed yesterday. To put rinse out eggshells I think my grandparents used to do that and put it in the coffee to take out the bitterness. See, that's how I always thought that, like, conditions and outside ambient influences influence taste and stuff like that, because people could use the same measurement to do the same thing, yet the outcome would be different. Consistency has too many variables. And then there's people that don't have imagination, and that they're programmed. They're better just to retain information that they're told and then regurgitate it when they're told. As I understand it, though, there's like the answers that they're giving aren't helpful, aren't useful, because they're parroting things like that's not my job. I don't get paid to do, like people, like service and helping people has fallen away, and as just acts of kindness and general thoughtfulness and concern about other things has fallen away too much of people living that best life. And now we're all going to deal with the consequences of it, how that plays out. In the community where I live, there's a lot of Torons. I'm trying really hard to create an environment which I don't have to leave like so many other people have. They just have created their bubble. I'm trying to make my bubble so I can, like how these people, that's all people do, is like they figured out a way how to get other people to pay for their life. And I haven't done that yet. Because there's so many ways that are not fair. And they're built on lies and disingenuousness. And so I'm trying to cultivate and come from more of an organic place. And that takes more time, I guess. And, the authentic, seeking authentic. I mean, the world we live in, it is really difficult to wade through so much of the cream of the crap that is standing up saying, no, look at me. And then so people are like, okay. And then they're empty, hollow shell people regurgitating things that other people said, or, using their, other people's words, or what. I make up my own shit. I like to use other people's data and information, but like I said, you can use your imagination and come up with the same stuff that the people that have read the books do and have, we just have had a different path. I had to do that. He has a lot of kids, and he stood up to take care of his family. That's why I think we're congruent. And I did this. I didn't have a lot of kids, but I knew from the time that I was young, 15. So when I came to the realization, Marge, you were going to take care of your mother forever. Because a promise is a promise. And I promised I'd never put her in a home. And the world has made it possible, yet not easy, for me to keep that promise. She's 73. She got her head slammed in a car door when she was 38. Doctor told me I was all by myself. I look at 15-year-olds, and I'm like, how would they respond if they were with their parent in the middle of the night, and the doctor said, call whoever needs to know, because they're probably not going to live through the night. And I stood there, and I was like, I have nobody to call. And I've been living my life like that ever since. Playing the I'm going to do it all by myself game. See, when I was a little girl, I was 10 months. I'll go from the time I was 12, 13 years old. I was a snooper. I was a Scorpio moon, and I came across some official documents in the vanilla envelopes. I know what those mean, because that's where Mom always kept the court papers and stuff like that, with the funny indentions and the structure and stuff, and the plaintiff and defendant and all that stuff, and I read, and on the top, the labels was San Bernardino Sheriff Department and or Riverside. It was Riverside. And but they're right next to each other. They're like the same thing. And maybe it was anyway. And I read the police report on an account of a young female I'm slow sometimes. And then I read words like penetration and stuff like that. And I put the dots together and I was like, okay, that's why my hip pops. That explains that. And that explained a lot of other things. Like when I was a little girl, I wanted to be tough and I wanted to be strong because babies were weak. Because people do terrible things to babies. And so I worked my whole life and I did things regular neurotypical people have not been able to do. I'm not so neurotypical. I don't think like other people, and I'm just trying to make my way like everybody else. And people recognize that are in the program, and they like that. They like, and usually when I go into a place like that, I'm like, I'm only there for one reason, and I need something, and people sometimes they're like, people are a little too similar to cats than they want to say, because they do that thing where they can smell fear and they like it. There's a vibrational frequency that it's like they like when people are scared. They like the torment. They like all that. My brother's one of those. I had so much. I was scared so many times when I was a little girl that like if I was woken up suddenly, I would, I'd get like a, flail. When I was a little kid, I'd kick my legs. Like I'd go in and want to sleep with grandma, and I'd freaking kick and thrash my legs. Like I was, doing it to save my own life. So I did all these things without like my brain knowing, but my body knew why. Right? And all these people are waking up to all this stuff like, oh, this is why. They're finding out all this stuff. Everybody do the dirty. Everybody does dirty things. It's what level of dirty, and what things are you willing to do for other things that's dirty. And being not so neurodivergent, it took me a long time to figure out that not everybody thinks like me. And so what I had to learn to do is see how they thought. And then that's how understand them, where they're coming from. And then that's how we can, coexist in life. People hate people based on looks and stuff like that. I don't like people when they're shallow. And shallow people have a look. So, ain't that a quandary? All right. Listen, Ma. The neighbor's getting up to go sit someplace else. New Mexico's a funny place, man. I just want to, I know that there's ambitious people. I keep picturing like all these old people that are tired, but they got the brains, and all these little young folks that don't have their energies misdirected, misguided, and they got all the energy but don't know what to do with it. Go out and freaking plant a garden and freaking build a house. There's so much stuff that can be done. They don't know how to direct and guide their energy. I know a lot of people are having so many different kinds of experiences right now with like okay, data dissemination, it's a trip. It's like, oh, the panhandle's on fire, right? Oh, okay. Now I live in Oregon. I grew up in California. Places burn down all the time. So this is just more examples of how cute it is when people haven't had to fucking deal with real life shit, and they've had like a relatively easy life. Ranchers and stuff. And remember, a lot of these ranchers and farmers, you hearing the stories about how they get all their land, they go to their neighbors and shoot them, and then they auction off the land and then buy their neighbor's land because they kill them. That's how things are done. So I mean, you got all these people that have had, these ranchers that are doing their stupid little dances in front of their private jets. These are the people that are driving up the cost of meat. I mean, they set the prices. They're saying, You know, they could take a hit and make it reasonable for poor people, but they don't do that. It's all ego. It's all, hey, look at me, look what I done. And so many of these people end up at the end of their lives, and they're like, oh shit, look what I did. And they can't look in mirrors. They can't look in reflections. Partially because they hate either their mom or dad or what, you know, both of them, and they see both of them in the mirror and they hate that. And then they people get, I've seen it too many times where people at the end of their life are like, God, I was a shitbag. That's why so many military officers and vets and shit kill themselves, because it's like they come to the same realization that I do. They just don't talk about it. They keep it to themselves. I'm not doing that shit. I'm here to let, you know, don't let your loved ones enlist. It's bullshit. You know, it's a script. It's like, hey, you know, we need to empty out. We need to make some money. I got story after story after story about this shit. Civilians, and they, you know, they're right along with it because they're millionaires too. And, you know, and when people live a life where they're just doing what they want, at the end of it, they start doing morbid, weird shit, and you start seeing their real, true personalities, and we're seeing it everywhere. Verified by others. Hermit crab, Cancer rising. All the love to give. That's another thing. I am so happy to see. I imagine things, and then I put that out, and then other people that are the same frequency, they're like, oh yeah, I could, you know, let's do this. I just haven't figured out how to do this stuff for myself. But I'm all for energetic support. And all this stuff coming up on my feeds about, you know, all these people having cat sanctuaries and stuff like that. I had a cat sanctuary before I moved here, you know. I just didn't have the right place to freaking get them all. It just, I learned so much, but it made me sick too. That was a hard period of my life. All these people that want to take care of things, you know, why aren't like I do, only I want to do it on a level where in Taos that we have our own court site, and not even in the mesa. I want it I want trees around. I want it someplace where there's trees, you know. I mean, this is just, I got my own version of something else that other people have done, and maybe it'll succeed, you know, and maybe it won't, but I gotta try, you know. You know, and it'll just be a play. If you want to get married in Taos, come on out. I can marry you. I just don't like going to the gorge. I think it's stupid, and I don't trust the infrastructure. I don't tell people to go there and drive over it and all that shit. Man, it's a rickety old metal shit, dude. And they don't fuck. If you think about how little they take care of the infrastructure in this town, I mean, it's embarrassing. You got these little Taos County workers, and they have this truck, and they go around, and they stop, and the guy stands out there with his flag, and a guy dumps out some blacktop into a hole, and he hits it with hits it in the hole, gets his bag of blacktop. Let everybody do this shit, dude. Let civilians, just let us come to the yard, big supplies. Okay, we're going to go out to this yard. I got my app. I got my county app here. I'm at this job. Here's a before. Look at the potholes. Here's the after. You know, you don't got to pay for supplies. And then, boop, direct deposit. Venmo, PayPal, any kind of, you know, online denomination into your account. Thank you from Taos County. That's what I want to see happen here. I got all these ideas. I just don't know how to get them to the powers that say, the Freemasons and the people, you know, the Catholics. And thank God that dude is freaking that. Look at all the timelines ending now. It's a glorious thing. Look at all the ideologies that are going with all these people that did this weird shit their whole entire lives. All of it's about to be history. Right now, like all the people that have lived glorious lives on the backs of others, sweat, blood, tears, grossness, they're all dying. And I just say good riddance. I won't name any. I got my whole list in my head. I'm not going to name it. People can come up with their own list because we're not going to have the same list. And I don't want to impose my list on somebody else because my experience is my experience. And if other people can relate to that, welcome to relation. And if not, good day. Be well. I get a lot of freaking... I'm an asshole magnet. I guess maybe I'm an asshole. Who knows how that works. Who knows? Cooperation is nature's way. And I get a lot of shit in my feed about truck drivers because my dad was a truck driver and I talk about it and the algorithm picks it up and then, oh, we think you'll like this. It dropped me into some dude's freaking chat this morning. Freaking Hitching a Ride just came on. And it says, like, people who join. I don't know why they're reading the screen when they're supposed to be driving anyway. But I guess, you know, I mean, if police really wanted to, they could really get these people. Because there's a lot of truck drivers that are reading while they're driving. And they're telling the fucking cop, all fucking Highway Patrol got to do is watch TikTok in their jurisdiction. Because they're even saying from this route to this route. I mean, it's a no-brainer. And oh boy, I go in there. I'm just dropping in, you know, sharing the heyoka, hey, sharing the love, sharing the heyoka. Just, hey, how you doing, you know? And he's like, howdy, welcome, like, hey, welcome to you. Welcome. He's like, everybody that comes in, he's like, hey, welcome to you. Well, he sees me, third eye activated. What the fuck? And I was like, what the fuck to you too, dude? You know, like, seriously? There are people that will either make you feel welcome or make you feel unwelcome. I'm trying so hard to be the person that always makes other people feel welcome because I was one of those, man, I moved around a lot. I was always late, and you could tell who the welcomers are and you can tell who really like cares, like is really welcoming. And you can also tell who is acting like it so you'll join their team so they can get you to do what they want you to do in their ecosystem. It took me a long time to differentiate because I'm gullible. I want to believe people because I tell people the truth. So I think they're going to, and it's been other people that God has put in my life that have taught me these things, Marge. Not everybody thinks like you, Marge. Not everybody has kindness in their heart. Not everybody has good intentions out. People want to cause harm. Marge, you got to learn this. You got to figure this out or you're going to freaking get hurt. You're going to get burned time and time again because people do not want your best interest. And then it's like, and then I test it. Only for those words to be verified. And then I learn everything about that person that screwed me over. And then so whenever I meet somebody else that has the same name, they wear the same shoes, they drive the same car, that they are in alignment to the same frequency of the experience that I've had before, I decide quickly, do I want to have if the potential exists for me to have the same experience, do I want to risk it? No? Good day, be well. Sometimes I don't care. Yeah, no, all potential, I could tell it'll turn out different. And then I could try it. Does it turn out different? Did you go against your own belief? Yeah? Did you learn your lesson? Yeah. Okay. That's what it's all about. So let's move on. Hey, Busted Muffin. Hey, Miss J. Welcome to my tiny tube. There's a lot of people out there that are good at hospitality and things like that. The thing of it is that the people are the ones that are standing in the way. People don't want to feel bad, man. The lack of accountability, it's like there's so many dumb people out there because your parents didn't teach you. I'm sorry they didn't take the time they teach you. I'm sorry that they just turned you over to somebody else with the expectation that you're my kid, you're my offspring, but I pay money, so I'm going to turn over my parental rights, except when I want to reel them back in, to let other people raise you, and people that don't care about you and they have weird ideas and how, things that they want to go to. All the while the kids are not even learning basic skills like reading and basic math skills. I mean, where's the accountability? I mean, you got all these people. I didn't have kids, but you got all these kids. It's not the parents' fault. Parents didn't raise them that way. Well, you did not raise them that way. So evidently, things that you did led them up to who they are. So yeah, every parent who has an undesired outcome, you did it. Everything you did made them that. Welcome to the world that you helped create. And people don't, no, my precious little boy or girl, they would never. Yeah, they do. And worse, all the time. I wasn't even a bad kid, man, because I knew about karma of my whole life and how the truth always comes out. And so I just knew everything I did, mom's going to know about it. And so I just turned into me going home and telling her. And ultimately, I'd start taking her to keggers with me and stuff like that. I'm not a secretive person. I don't think people should be. I think people that are secretive always have something to hide. And people that have something to hide are liars, because you're trying to get people to think you're one kind of way when the reality of it is you're another. West Virginia. Mama. What else? I think I might wrap it up. I'm at the 40-minute mark. Earth is faith. What did I can't read my own writing. What did it was a good one. Let's see. Earth is faith until you have faith. Wait a minute. Either you have. Earth is faith until you have. I don't know. Raised in little cottages. That's okay. I'll end up on that one. Raised in little cottages. Like, I think about the fairy tale and stuff like that. And I was raised in, because we were so poor. The last place we lived in, and when I was in high school, we moved in there when I was junior high. So 12th grade, 13. So I started junior high at Central Valley Intermediate, CVI. They were the Rams. I'm an Aries, so I liked going there. Before that, we were homeless. Before that, I went to 4 schools, just my 6th grade year, and didn't go to school for 7 weeks. I haven't counted all the places we moved around to. It was a lot. So, and we ended up in this little cottage, and I have a picture of it somewhere around here. I can't remember which photo album it's in one of the old ones. I take a lot of photos, I always have. And here's me at frickin' 15. Yeah. Isn't that funny? I get perms. Mom get perms too. This is us in the cottage. This is after my brother was in basic training. Here's me in a dress. One of the only pictures of me this is 8th grade graduation. Is big old peach dress. My big old hair. Can't really see, but this should be the photo album where I have us in the cabin. Oh, here's Mom when we were young. She's such a pretty lady. There. Bad. It's because of the it's not gonna focus because of the film. It's gonna want to look at this and make that light. But this little cabin, you know, it was a 1-bedroom. My brother is so resentful about his time. This is basic training. That's that. Because my brother's bedroom was one of those. He was only there for because he lived with my dad And then by the time we lived there, he was like going and hanging out with his buddies, involved with wrestling. So he wasn't even around much. And, but his room was one of those metal tin garden sheds where people store their lawnmower and stuff like that. And, God, it's so... I see, that's the thing is, I picture all these dudes. My dad was a macho dude. So's my... They're these men that I've seen it my whole life. Because my grandpa, he was so frail. He had polio and stuff like that. But I see these dudes that are so big and tough. And it's like they're trying to hang on to that big and tough throughout their whole life. But they lose it at some point. You know? And they turn into old men. And then they can't prove themselves to be the tough people that they were. I guess it's not gender specific. I guess it has more to do with the energy of a person and how they encompass the energy of themselves. This is my 18th birthday party. That was a surprise party. That was like the only legitimate surprise party anybody... No, I take that back. There was 2. 2 out of 48. Everybody else, it's my grandma's real estate office. High school graduation. I guess I don't... Margie's Diner. This is me at prom. Senior prom. Boop. 1992. I mean... For the alternative folks, I've been trying real hard to pave the way to make things easier for you, but then they made the shit weird, took it extreme. I ain't never been into that LBG bullshit. Any group, any organization, stuff like that, I'm always like, no, there's people in it make it weird. There's always someone in every group that makes it about weird shit, and that's why I don't like any group. This is the dude. He's why I went into the Air Force. One of the reasons I knew I'd have to get a job. Here are the lunch ladies that were nice to me my senior year. Always be nice to the lunch lady. That's a dumb bitch that ended up my landlord in Oregon, but that's for another story. All these stories. High school graduation. I tried the blonde hair thing. Yeah. Oh, there's a couple daughters of Freemasons right there. You know, why would I even bother? I go into every group. I'm like, okay, I'm here because I want to go in a course of life in action. I'm here for some kind of action. I go into every environment and people are becoming more and more stifling. I don't want to let her have her way. So why do I So I just make a way, you know, in life without other people. I just learn how to figure out how to circumvent other people. This is after my dad got his head crushed. He was dead a month. Pain was so hard to take. This was 1988. So, he wasn't on any narcotics or anything like that. That's why where his hand is, see, okay, you can see, they had to see, it's so weird. He got in this accident right out of Phoenix, and that's where his youngest daughter, my sister, was killed in a motorcycle accident, where he's told me I shouldn't get a motorcycle accident because I would die. I wonder if he remembers saying that. And then my sister, his daughter, because I was like, you know, you're right. I don't want to die, so I don't need to get a motorcycle. You're right. Thanks. I'm coming back to my senses now, right? And so he was outside Phoenix, got crushed by a covert pipe. They didn't even tell us, because they took him in an ambulance from Phoenix to Santa Barbara. They didn't even tell us for a month after it happened because they weren't sure that he wasn't going to die. But it cracked his head in 3 places. Like his head looked like an egg that dropped on the ground. And then both of my parents are traumatic head injury people. And then so this hip was crushed. He has pins in this hip. And then he broke this femur in here. And so, I mean, it fucked him up. He did all kinds of shit when he was younger. What is on his shirt? Are they flowers or are they fishing lures? But yeah, you can see the I come from people that are. He kind of looked like Elvis. She was quite the ladies' man. He cheated. He cheated. He's a cheater. That's how I know what these people are. Is this is where I come from? I'm trying to break the cycle. Are you okay, sweetie? I was just doing a talk. You okay? It's okay. Come on in. It's okay. No. You're why I'm here, not that. Let's go this way.
Is that Luna?
That's Lunatickle. She's a pretty lady. Come around this way. Go that way. Yep. No, don't go out the front door. You think it's bright in here? Yeah. No, don't go out that door. Okay. There you go. I'll be right back. See, it's other people. I'm like, how? And then I see other people. I'm like, and I see where their lives are Groundhog's Day because my lives are Groundhog's Day. Because like she don't even know where the bathroom. Like 5 minutes, her mind erases. So I don't know. I just have always seen the world so much different. I'm trying to put it verbally into pictures because I think other people can agree about this stuff. I think other people have these same experiences. They just don't know what to do themselves. Here. Leave it in the toilet, okay? Please. What? I mean, I think about it. Like, you got all these, and there's so many other young people like me, 22, taking care of their mom, because they couldn't unplug. There's all the, like, create environments where they can be there, like me, to take care of my loved one and earn without having to give half of what I do in my energy to fucking big corporations that don't give a fuck about me. Ma, everybody's getting laid off. Put it in there. Let go. Drop it. And then I see people, and then they treat people so badly, their loved ones, and I'm just like, I think about, like, because I care about mom, so I do all the things to make sure she's taken care of. So, like, I had to go back in there because she'll stand there, and because the lady broke her, mom has a broken brain, so people get programmed. Lady in Arizona, carry dumb bitch, freaking broke her brain with toilet paper. So I'm like, okay, now drop the toilet. I always have to tell, put the toilet paper in the toilet. And these are, it's the same thing every day. And I just think that there's other people that do so much less that could make the life easier for others instead of themselves all the time. And when that changes, the world will open up. And I know things are changing. I'm seeing it. I'm seeing beautiful things on my reels. I'm seeing more people becoming civic minded. Mr. Iskey, he's going to the senator, one of the senators. See, that's the thing is you got all these dumbass millionaires. I'm seeing it all over. People getting in fucking mayors' faces like, hey, mayor, why are you taking $200,000? Hey, governor of New Mexico, why are you getting paid vacations on the taxpayers' money to Dubai? Don't you have bigger concerns here with the human trafficking? That's why you're going. Oh, okay. To perpetuate, because if they don't break this, and they love the pervs in New Mexico. I mean, they love Epstein. They love all this shit that comes with it, because they don't care. If you don't care about yourself, you're not going to care about where your daughters and your sons are. Yet they all tout about, 7, 8 generation. I got 8 generation living in New Mexico, so it's your family's fault that it's gone down the toilet? But everybody you know has what they need. What about the people in your own community? All the people that are real sad just because nobody gives a shit about them. I'm a part of the single demographic. Nobody gives, where it says married, divorced, single. Nobody gives a fuck about the single people. We are all somebody else's problem. And God forbid you got to take care of somebody else that's single. That doesn't have any, a community of support to give a fuck about them, to raise them up in all their times of need. glad I make you laugh. I try to make people laugh. We got to keep our senses of humor about this shit because, you know, it's fucking funny when perverts and idiots and fucking dumbasses are ruling the world, and it's like you got a logical mind where, you know, it's and you're an obedient heart where it's like you know that you don't do that. It's like there's something inherent in me that knows, Marge, my butt is an exit-only system. You don't put stuff in it. And people that do, they all got their own agendas. So how many different worlds are we living on based on just that? I watched a video of a dude he's like, hey, I don't get into, I don't do the whole race thing. I'm telling stories of other people's account of their racial interactions. I don't go by that. I go by rainbows, and we're all colors of the color wheel. And it's how people act that matters, not the color of their skin or what kind of fucking blood they have in them, or, you know, if they're related to aliens, or, you know, they all create their own script. They ain't following nothing but what they want to do. This guy's like, talking about selling property, you know, he's Jewish and you know, selling property and stuff like that. And I'm just like, dude, they've been doing like this the whole time. They haven't never not. But all of a sudden people care. Oh, China's going to San Francisco's, dude, it has been since freaking the 90s since I lived. I mean, come on. I mean, there's like, think about it. There's governments that just feel like blowing up a part of the world for whatever the reason. They pull out of their fucking ass. And then the people that live there fucking have no place to go because all their houses are bombed and blown up and shit. So they go someplace else. And then this happens all over, right? And while that's happening, people desire more and more and more. So they're asking for more, but the people that, like, want to live, like, we can't give it to you. Everything is going up, but what poor people make. I get by because I'm a pet project. You know what I mean? Like, because somebody saw the need in me and said, I want to help you live in a way so your butt isn't 1,000 times, you know, 24/7 puckered because you don't know how you're going to get by. And there's, you know, and so it made my life comfortable by helping us out. But there's more people out there that have the help to give, and they just don't, because they're just you know, my stuff is my stuff, and you don't give your money away, and you don't do this, and you don't do that. No, you don't. There's plenty of people that do. You don't. You're the selfish, withholding a-hole. I am very generous. I have lots of stories of examples on how other people could have been generous like this and weren't. Margie, people have free will. They can do, yeah, and look what they do with it. Look at the whole world, because people have collectively used their free will to cause harm to others. And now the karma is being paid. So now we're gonna have more fires in the Panhandle. Oh God, Texas ranchers, poor. Where were they? Do you think they give a fuck about the fires anytime they were going on in Oregon or, you know, any place else that didn't affect them? But as soon as shit fucking comes into your front doorstep, people are like, oh God, it stinks. And now the whole world is gonna stink up more. Because there's going to be more empty buildings and more people on the street. And it's an imbalance, and it's not going to add up. And these irrational folks are going to start going into the buildings that so much money is going into government buildings, you know, government fleets, police, that's going into all these resources, yet the crime, it's like what they're supposed to be, the darkness they're supposed to be keeping away is getting bigger and bigger. And so people are figuring out, wow, man, they get a lot of shit for not really doing much. Seems like everybody should get a little for doing nothing if they're going to get so much for doing very little. I mean, the balance, you know, like, even it out. And when I talk about people that don't, like, my brother says I don't work. Guy sits in a fucking office in his house, types letters for the Office of Parole for the state of California, makes $165,000 a year at this point, probably. and says I don't work. When for fucking 2 years I was going down every day to collect water for the toilet for us to flush because the city turned off our water. I mean, I got story after story about why I fucking hate politicians and systems and bureaucrats and all of it. And they hate me because they're like, oh shit, she's right. Oh God, she's shedding light on our disgustingness. You know? Well, if they weren't so fucking disgusting, they wouldn't have shit to hide and the world wouldn't be the way it is, but that's not how logic prevails. Whew! They just, they just talk down and isolate people like me for telling the truth when they just can't rectify the grossness of the people of which they don't want their daughters and their know what scumbags they are. Husband, people that hide stuff, they're really a scumbag and they don't want everybody else to figure it out. But now I think we're getting to a point where like people don't care and they're just like, I'm gonna be a scumbag out loud, fuck it. And so now America, we're gonna see. Look, this is crazy. Like the level, people don't realize the level of how fast this earth is changing. This is in 41 minutes. See those little blue marks right there? That's 41 minutes. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. This is 11 instances, okay? Landslides. That means the earth is moving. Land is releasing. That's what this means. Whenever I'm like, fuck, I looked yesterday at like 4. I woke up and there's like 192 notifications. Like shit is fucking happening. Because it's happening here and it's happening here and it's happening here. And when it happens all over, it's like, that's how things grow, like fire, and it's just, that's how things get everywhere. And so this is Greece, Ecuador, Coincidence, I'm bad at Spanish names and all that shit. Lojoa, Ecuador. So do 2 different places in Ecuador. Peru, 2 different places in Peru. Albancy and St. Martin. Landslides. I'm talking landslides. Afghanistan, Pakistan, Tanzania, another place in Peru, different than the 2 that I precedingly mentioned. A different place in Tanzania and the Congo. So in the last 43 minutes, in all of these different places, I have my map here. One day I want to have my map in the background and use that more. Because that I can use to display latitude and longitude. And in my mind, people live based on their frequency, on the world based on the frequency of the latitude and longitude. I believe that there are systems in place that energy is injected into the latitude to stimulate. But it's done in ways of gathering people in coliseums, provoking fear with fires. There's just all kinds of ways that they stimulate the economy, literally by injecting currency of fear into it. It just goes on and on. But I've been talking over an hour. You want some eggs, Ma? It's only 8:30. The time. You know what? The time. I was talking with Aunt Jeannie last night, and she was saying how they were already talking time change, and I looked, and it's already coming up on like March 10th. Is the time? It seems early. Like every year, it seems like I can't, because every year's different than the next. The only thing that's the same is the imposed reality of the calendar. But my body has always gone by energy. You know what I mean? Like my body's always gone by the 13th month system. 28 days, 13 months. It's other people say no, you have to live this way, but nature says no. Anyway, that's about all I got for now. Thanks for hanging out. I hope you have